Peace comes when we ourselves are peaceful. Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. To get wisdom is better than gold, to get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. Proverbs 16:16. The Bible is a book that most people take as a guide and consult it to find an answer to their problems. The answer to our problems is not outside ourselves, it is within ourselves. Although the Bible does help us to see the way when we begin to understand ourselves, it is still outside ourselves. Jesus said, "You read the scriptures and you think you have eternal life?" In the first book of Genesis there is a statement which the prophet who wrote it knew what he was talking about. He shows that God saw that his work was good. The divine could see no flaw anywhere, and this perfect creation includes man. There can be no flaw in the divine mind, which includes man, but as soon as man descends into the intellectual, he creates out of his own very limited understanding the errors that create havoc in his life. This world of error is man's conception of things, which is quite different to the divine creation. If man can see for himself the falseness of his own conceptions, he would not hold on to them. If man then cannot see the falseness of his own creation, how can he ever reach that which is divine? Man's conceptions are the result of his ignorance, and because he does not know what is false, he cannot realize what is true. Thus the misdirection of his creative power of thought produces for him corresponding results which he calls reality. In fact, there is nothing real about it, at all, for reality is harmony, while man creates the reverse because he does not know what is false. Man now asks, how can we solve the present crisis in the world? Is there anything that the individual can do to stop bloodshed and misery taking place? What man sees in the world is just the result of his own everyday life. It is the outward expression of man's inward state. So man is responsible for the misery. If then man is responsible, it also rests with man to put an end to all the misery. Man misdirects his thought power, and because he is caught up in his own action and reaction, he fails to see the truth of the divine nature of things. Man's intellectual nature being steeped in error, he sees evil as a power in the world. So he immediately tries to stamp it out, with the result that he creates more evil within himself. If you kill a murderer, do you not become a murderer too? If it is evil to kill, then you are evil even if you condone it. Although you do not actually take part in the killing, you are still responsible. If we are interested in creating things to kill others, we cannot complain if we get killed ourselves. We do not get what we want, but how we act determines what we get. Our actions are none other than our own thought projection, the projection of ourselves. How then can we stop all this misery unless we transform ourselves? The intellectual error is that there is a power called evil opposing good. So we outpicture the error, which results in the destruction of mind, body, and circumstances. What is our deepest thought? Is it not a belief in something that we are afraid of? So man's conception brings forth his misconception, with the result that he destroys himself. What is it then that causes all this strife and misery in the world? It cannot be anything outside man himself, for what is outside man has no power of its own. It is man's action and reaction that operates from within himself, that causes all the strife and misery. Therefore man is the cause, no matter how we try to put the blame somewhere else. We are only trying to escape the issue, that we ourselves are the cause. We have different religions, different political views. We have different nationalities, different ideologies. We try to impose our views upon others, we give ourselves an exalted status because of our nationalities, our position. We all have a different approach to God, and because of all this we have no goodwill towards each other. Do you not think now that is very foolish? Because of our ignorance we are unable to think for ourselves. So we are fed on beliefs, ideas, dogmas, nationalism, etc. Therefore we breed discontent, which leads to conflict. As human beings we must either pursue a path of constant and continuous conflict, which is the result of our everyday action, or else see the cause of all this misery and turn our backs upon it. If we had no beliefs but goodwill, love, and consideration between us, there would be no war, no strife, no misery. Mind and matter are passive in nature, matter being a grosser form of mind in which form takes place in the physical plane through the agency of thought action. If we can see from whence our thought action arises, we can dissolve it, then the divine creator would manifest because it is, we do not have to create it. What we create is the evil that arises out of our ignorance of the truth of our being. Therefore evil does not oppose good, for when we get rid of one we get rid of the other. They are both intellectual creations of man's mind. What is unpleasant for him he calls evil, and what is pleasant he calls good. But in the divine creation there is neither. If we have good we must have evil, then we live in the world of opposites which is of our own making, and thus we become confused. When we reach a true state of understanding we will see the cause. We will no longer be blind to the causes in operation, for we will not be caught up in them. Then we will know the meaning of, as a man thinketh in his heart so is he. We will then see that the great diseases, the great evils in the world today are desire for power, position, prestige, the worship of different flags and the worship of different religions, the worship of different dogmas. All these lead to war and misery. If we are smitten with any of those diseases we build a society which will end in destruction. So you see, it depends upon us, but no one seems to realize it. Is it not a fact that most people look to a leader, a new president, a Stalin or a Churchill and all the rest for a solution? But it does not depend upon others, it depends upon ourselves. If once we felt the responsibility of our own actions, how quickly we would bring to an end all this appalling misery. But, you see, we are indifferent because we do not want to be disturbed. What is the use of having peace talks and the like, if we, the cause of this misery, do not transform ourselves through understanding the cause? Man must be created in God because there is nothing outside him. Therefore man must be created out of the substance of God because there is nothing else. Divine intelligence being perfect must reflect its own perfection, and this is the only reality. An error has no power of its own, and when corrected disappears into nothingness. When we see the error we can correct it and it dissolves away, and what is left is that which always is, which reflects its own perfection. When we see that we have brought about our own misery by our beliefs etc., we will let them drop away from us, then we will become aware of our true nature and our limitations, our confusion will disappear. When we begin to understand the mechanism of our thought, our reactions etc., we will see how we have reacted to error, and by doing so have established error in our lives. The great prizes are awarded to those who can discern all this. We must be one-pointed in regard to life itself, which is man's creativeness. When the sun's rays pass through a magnifying glass and are focused one-pointedly on an object, it will dissolve it away. So it is with the discernment of our thought action and reaction, brought about through our beliefs etc. We will see the cause is within ourselves and not outside us. We will realize that our creative power is one with the creative power of the universe. Then it is, Thy will be done, not mine, O Lord. If we can see that that which we formulate in our own minds is not reality, then reality will reveal itself. But before we can break down this confusion, we must become aware of it and know what it is and how it comes about. If we isolate ourselves from one another through our beliefs, our creeds, our nationalities, our ideologies, we can never have true relationship, which is freedom. We must become aware of this isolation to break it down. No matter how we try to escape from the misery, we cannot do so without understanding it. We can never escape from the confusion and misery until we understand it from every angle. Then we will see that we ourselves are the cause. All the revolution we see going on in the outer is utterly useless unless the inward revolution has first taken place. To rely on others is utterly futile. What will bring peace in mind, body, and circumstances is inward transformation. This will lead to outer transformation, and there is no other way. Peace will come when we ourselves are peaceful and not before. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Proverbs 16:7. Benediction. O blessed peace, if thou art always present, why dost thou hide thy face? Thou didst answer me in the silence of my mind when all the noise of the outer died down. Yet I did not heed thy words, given by the Master of Masters, when he said, The kingdom of heaven is within you. It was only when I discerned my mental makeup that I saw the error of my ways. Now, O blessed peace, I have dissolved all that hold thee from me, and I found how true thy words were. Peace will come when thou art peaceful and not before. Now I am one with thee, O blessed peace. My peace and my love remain with you. Yours very sincerely, Murdo MacDonald-Bayne.